Tuesday, April 9th, 2019. James Mitchell buried his father. Small funeral. 23 people. Most were neighbors who'd known Robert Mitchell for 40 years. James stood at the graveside watching the casket lower. Felt numb. Empty. His father was 68. Heart attack 3 days ago. Sudden. Unexpected. Gone. The lawyer approached after the service. Gerald Patterson, age 72. Robert's attorney for 30 years. James, we need to meet tomorrow. There's the estate to settle, papers to sign. Can it wait? I need time to process this. I understand, but there are time-sensitive matters. Wednesday morning, my office, 9 a.m. It's important. James nodded, too tired to argue. Wednesday morning, Patterson's office, small-town lawyer, oak desk, leather chairs, files everywhere. Patterson handed James a folder. Your father's estate. It's straightforward. Everything goes to you. The house, the 600 acres, the equipment, all of it. James opened the folder. Land deed, equipment titles, bank statements. His father had owned everything outright. No mortgage, no debt. Farm was worth approximately $2.4 million, 600 acres at $4,000 per acre. Dad never talked about finances. I had no idea he was worth this much. Robert was private about money, but he managed well. The farm is yours now, free and clear. James scanned the bank statements. Checking account, $48,000. Savings, $192,000. His father had saved consistently, lived modestly, built wealth quietly. There's one more thing. Patterson pulled out another folder. Thicker, marked confidential. Your father came to me 6 months ago, asked me to give you this if anything happened to him. He was specific. Only you, only after his death, only in person. Patterson handed James the folder. I don't know what's in it. Robert sealed it himself, but he said it was critical you read it immediately upon taking ownership. James opened the folder. Inside was a handwritten letter, 10 pages, his father's handwriting, dated October 14th, 2018. The letter began, James, if you're reading this, I'm dead. What I'm about to tell you will shock you, but you need to know immediately. Your life may depend on it. James felt cold, kept reading. In 1997, I discovered something on our land, something valuable, something dangerous. I've kept it secret for 22 years, but now that it's yours, they'll come for it. They'll come fast. You need to be ready. James's hands shook, continued reading. The northeast 40 acres, the section we never farm, the wooded area. There's a geological formation there, a rare earth mineral deposit, specifically scandium and yttrium, critical for electronics, aerospace, defense applications. I discovered it by accident, sent soil samples to university for testing. Results came back showing massive concentrations. I consulted a geologist confidentially. He estimated the deposit could be worth $50 to $80 million. I never told anyone, never extracted any, kept farming as if I didn't know, but I documented everything. Samples, test results, geological surveys. It's all in safety deposit box at First National Bank. Box 427. Key is in this folder. Here's what you need to know. 3 corporations have been trying to buy our land for years. Meridian Mining, Continental Resources, Pacific Materials. They make low offers. I always refuse. They don't know I know what's under the ground, but they suspect something. If you inherit suddenly, they'll move fast. They'll make offers, pressure you, maybe threaten you. They want that deposit. It's worth billions to them over time. You have choices. Sell the land, take their money, live wealthy and safe, or keep the land. Extract the minerals yourself, make more money, but face more risk. Whatever you choose, be careful. These are powerful corporations. They play dirty. I've documented suspicious incidents over the years. Equipment sabotaged, survey crews trespassing, intimidation attempts. Trust no one who offers to help. Everyone has an angle. Stay alert. Stay safe. And remember, you don't have to decide immediately. You control the land. They need you more than you need them. I love you, son. I'm sorry to leave you with this burden, but it's yours now. Handle it wisely. Dad. James sat stunned. Read the letter 3 times. His father had discovered a $50 million mineral deposit and never told anyone. Kept it secret for 22 years. Now it was James's. Patterson watched him. Everything okay? Yeah, just a lot to process. James left the office, drove to the farm, the 600 acres that were now his. Drove to the northeast 40, the wooded section. Looked normal. Trees, brush, creek running through. No indication that millions in rare minerals sat beneath. James went to the bank, retrieved the safety deposit box. Inside, soil sample results, geological surveys, assay reports, photographs, handwritten notes. His father had documented everything meticulously. The geological survey confirmed it. Scandium and yttrium deposits estimated between $40 and $70 million in value, possibly more with advanced extraction. James sat in his truck reading everything. His father was right. This was dangerous. 3 corporations wanted this land. Now that Robert was dead, they'd make their move. James drove home. Wednesday evening, exhausted, overwhelmed, went to bed early. Thursday morning, James woke to his phone ringing. Unknown number. Mr. Mitchell, this is David Chen. I represent Meridian Mining Corporation. We're terribly sorry for your loss. We'd like to meet with you to discuss a potential acquisition of your property. Would today work? James's stomach tightened. 24 hours after the funeral, already calling. I'm not interested in selling. We understand, but we'd like to present an offer anyway. We're prepared to be very generous. Could we meet briefly? Say, 2 p.m. today? No, I'm not selling. Mr. Mitchell, we really think you should hear our offer. It's substantially above market value. I said no. James hung up, hands shaking. It was starting. 30 minutes later, another call. Different number. Mr. Mitchell, Sandra Williams, Continental Resources. We wanted to reach out regarding your father's property. We're very interested in making an offer. Could we schedule a meeting? Not interested. We're prepared to offer $4.8 million for the 600 acres. That's $8,000 per acre, well above the $4,000 market rate. $4.8 million. His father said they'd pressure him. They were starting high. Not selling. Mr. Mitchell, that's a generous offer. Perhaps we could increase it to $5 million. That's a guaranteed sale. No contingencies. I'm not selling at any price. Stop calling. He hung up. Thursday afternoon brought 2 more calls. Pacific Materials. Then a 4th company James hadn't heard of. All making offers. All pushy. All refused to take no for answer. By Thursday evening, James had received 7 calls. Offers ranging from $4.8 million to $5.4 million. All substantially above market value. All confirming his father's letter. They knew something valuable was there. Friday morning, James woke to find a letter slipped under his door. Expensive stationery, law firm letterhead. Dear Mr. Mitchell, we represent Meridian Mining Corporation. Our client is prepared to offer $6 million cash for your 600-acre property. This represents a 50% premium over market value. Offer expires Saturday at noon. Please contact us immediately to arrange closing. $6 million. They were getting aggressive. James checked his property, walked the fence line. Everything looked normal, but he felt watched. Friday afternoon, James was working in the barn when a truck pulled up. 2 men got out. Suits, expensive, out of place. Mr. Mitchell, we're from Continental Resources. We wanted to speak with you in person. I told you on the phone, not interested. The taller one smiled, friendly but cold. We understand you're grieving, but this is a business decision. Our current offer is $5.4 million. We're authorized to increase that to $6.2 million. That's final offer. My answer is final too, not selling. The shorter one stepped forward, less friendly. Mr. Mitchell, you need to think carefully. These offers won't last forever. Market conditions change, property values drop. You should take this opportunity while it's available. James felt the threat behind the words. Get off my property. We're just trying to help you make a smart decision. Now. They left. But the message was clear. Take the money or face consequences. Friday evening. James sat in his father's study reviewing everything again. The geological reports, the offers, his options. He could sell. $6 million was life-changing money. He could live anywhere, do anything. never work again. Or he could keep the land, extract the minerals himself, make more money long-term but face corporate pressure, legal battles, maybe worse. His father had chosen to keep it secret, never extract it, just farm around it, live modestly, avoid the attention. But James couldn't do that now. They knew he knew. The secret was out. Friday night. James couldn't sleep, kept thinking about his father's warning. They played dirty. What did that mean exactly? Saturday morning, 6 a.m. James woke to dogs barking, looked out window. 3 black SUVs parked at his gate, 6 men standing outside them, waiting. James's heart raced, called the sheriff. "Sheriff Martinez, this is James Mitchell. I've got 6 men in black SUVs at my gate. I don't know who they are, but I want them removed." "On my way." James watched from the window. The men didn't approach, just stood there, waiting, intimidating. Sheriff Martinez arrived 20 minutes later, talked to the men. They showed him something. Papers, maybe. Sheriff walked back to James's house. "James, they're private investigators, hired by Meridian Mining. They say they're conducting a property survey. They have a right to be on the public road. They're on my property line. That's intimidation. They're technically on the county road. I can't make them leave unless they're trespassing." James felt helpless. "So they can just sit there? As long as they stay on public property, yes." "You got a problem with Meridian Mining? They want to buy my land. I refused. Now they're harassing me." Martinez looked concerned. "Meridian's a big corporation. Be careful dealing with them. They have resources, lawyers. If they want your property, they'll find ways to pressure you." "Are you saying they can just intimidate me and there's nothing you can do?" "I'm saying be smart. If they're offering good money, maybe consider it. Fighting a corporation is expensive and exhausting." Martinez left. James felt abandoned. The sheriff was supposed to protect him. Instead, he was suggesting James give in. The black SUVs sat at the gate all morning. James tried to work, couldn't focus, just watched them. 11:48 a.m. A town car pulled up, expensive. A man got out, mid-50s, expensive suit. Walked through James's gate uninvited. James met him at the door. "You're trespassing." "James Mitchell, I'm Richard Brennan, Senior Vice President, Meridian Mining." "I apologize for the drama. Could we talk? 5 minutes. Get off my property. I have an offer that will solve all your problems. $6.5 million, cash, close Monday. You can be in Hawaii by Tuesday with more money than you'll spend in 3 lifetimes. "Not interested." "James, let me be frank. We know what's on your property. Rare earth minerals, worth millions. We're offering you a fortune to avoid a fight. Take it. Walk away rich and happy. Or?" Brennan's friendly demeanor dropped. "Or we make this difficult. We have lawyers who will tie you up in court for years. We'll challenge your deed, claim mineral rights, file injunctions, environmental complaints, zoning violations. We'll bury you in legal fees until you're bankrupt and desperate to sell for pennies." James felt rage building. "You're threatening me. I'm explaining reality. You're one person. We're a billion-dollar corporation. We want those minerals. You can profit from that, or you can fight and lose everything. Choose wisely. Get out." Brennan handed him a business card. "Offer expires at noon. You have 11 minutes. After that, we play hardball." He walked back to his town car, drove away. The 3 SUVs remained. James stood on his porch shaking. 11 minutes to decide his future. 6.5 million or war with a corporation. He thought about his father. 22 years of keeping the secret, living modestly, avoiding this exact situation. His father chose peace over profit, chose safety over wealth. But his father also left him the information, left him the choice. If he wanted James to sell, why document everything? Why warn him about the corporations? His father wanted James to have options, wanted him to know the truth, then decide. James looked at the SUVs, at the men watching his house, at the corporate intimidation on display. He made his decision. 12:03 p.m. James's phone rang. "Brennan." "James, you're 3 minutes past deadline. Are we closing Monday?" "No, I'm keeping the property." Silence. Then, "That's disappointing and expensive for you. We'll be in touch." The line went dead. James waited for the SUVs to leave. They didn't. Sat there all afternoon, into evening. Message was clear. We're watching. We're not leaving. We'll make your life miserable until you sell. Saturday evening. James sat in his father's study, exhausted, scared, but resolved. He wasn't selling, not to intimidation, not to threats. This was his father's legacy, his land, his decision. He pulled out his laptop, started researching corporate law, mineral rights, property protection. If Meridian wanted a fight, James would fight. But he was alone. One person against billion-dollar corporation. How could he possibly win? Sunday morning, James woke to SUVs still at gate, slept maybe 3 hours. Anxiety kept him awake. Church bells rang in distance. James hadn't been to church since his mother died 15 years ago. But something pulled him. Needed something. Guidance, peace, help. He drove to town. First Methodist Church, small congregation, maybe 40 people. Pastor Thompson preaching about David and Goliath, about facing impossible odds with faith. After service, James approached the pastor. Pastor Thompson, I need advice. I'm facing a situation. I don't know what to do. They talked in the pastor's office. James explained everything. The mineral deposit, the corporate pressure, the intimidation, his fear. Pastor Thompson listened, then said, James, I can't tell you what to do, but I can tell you this. Your father was a good man, honest, principled. He could have sold out 22 years ago, made millions, retired to Florida. But he didn't. He chose to live simply, to farm, to be part of this community. That meant something to him. So you think I should keep the land? I think you should ask yourself what kind of man you want to be. The kind who sells out to corporate intimidation, or the kind who stands for something even when it's hard? James drove home thinking about that. What kind of man did he want to be? Sunday afternoon, James received an email. From Brennan, no pleasantries, just business. Mr. Mitchell, since you rejected our final offer, we are proceeding with legal action. Expect to be served with lawsuit Tuesday alleging improper ownership chain of title. We will also file county complaints regarding alleged environmental violations on your property. These processes will be expensive and time-consuming for you to defend. Reconsider your position. Offer of $6 million remains available until Wednesday. They were moving fast. Title challenge, environmental complaints, exactly as his father warned. James forwarded the email to Patterson, his father's lawyer. Patterson called immediately. James, this is serious. They're going to attack from multiple angles. Defending this could cost you hundreds of thousands in legal fees. Can we win? Maybe. Your title is solid. Environmental complaints are probably baseless, but proving that costs money. They have unlimited resources. You don't. So I should sell? Long pause. That's not my decision, but I understand why people do. James hung up. Felt defeated. Maybe he should sell. Take the money. Avoid the fight. But something in him resisted. His father fought this for 22 years. Quietly, by refusing to engage, by just living his life. James could do the same. Or he could fight openly, or there was a third option. Sunday evening. James called his father's geologist, Dr. Kareem Hassan, professor at Iowa State University, had consulted with Robert 20 years ago. Dr. Hassan, this is James Mitchell, Robert Mitchell's son. James, I heard about your father. I'm sorry. He was a good man. Thank you. I need to ask you about the geological survey you did on our land. The rare earth minerals. Silence. Then carefully. What about them? I know about the deposit. My father left me documentation. I need to understand my options. Hassan exhaled. Your father swore me to secrecy. I've honored that for 20 years. Now that he's gone and you know, what do you want? I want to know if I can extract these minerals myself, without selling to a corporation. Theoretically, yes, but it's complicated, expensive. You'd need mining permits, environmental approvals, extraction equipment, processing facilities. We're talking millions in startup costs. What if I partnered with someone, a smaller company? Possible, but risky. Meridian and the others will sue anyone who tries to work with you. They'll claim violations, file injunctions, tie you up in court. So my only real option is sell to them. Or don't extract at all, just keep farming. The minerals will still be there in 50 years. They're not giving me that option. They're threatening lawsuits, harassment. They won't stop until I sell. Hassan was quiet. Then, James, I'll tell you something I never told your father. There are other parties who'd be interested in this deposit. Government contractors, defense suppliers, universities. The minerals you have are critical for military applications. There might be alternatives to the corporations. Like what? Let me make some calls. Give me 24 hours. Monday morning, the lawsuits arrived. Sheriff delivered them personally. 3 separate filings: title challenge, environmental complaint, trespassing allegation related to creek maintenance. All clearly bogus, all expensive to defend, all designed to pressure James into selling. James called Patterson. They filed. I see them. We need to respond within 30 days. I can handle this, but my retainer is $25,000 to start. $25,000. James had it in the bank from his father's accounts. But it was just the beginning. This could cost hundreds of thousands. Do it. File our responses. Fight this. You're sure? I'm sure. Monday afternoon, Dr. Hassan called back. James, I spoke with some contacts. There's interest from a defense contractor, Lockheed Martin. They need rare earth minerals for aerospace applications. They're willing to negotiate a partnership. You keep the land, they extract minerals, profit split, and they have legal resources to fight Meridian. Really? It's not guaranteed, but they're interested. Would you meet with them? Yes. Tomorrow, 2 p.m. conference call. I'll set it up. James felt hope for first time in days. Maybe there was a way out of this that didn't involve surrendering to Meridian. Monday evening, the SUVs were gone from his gate. James felt relief. Maybe they were backing off. Then his dog started barking. Went outside. The barn was on fire. James called 911. Fire department came, put it out. Half the barn destroyed, equipment damaged. Cause electrical malfunction supposedly. But James knew better. Fire marshal investigated. Looks like faulty wiring, old barn. These things happen. This wasn't an accident. You have evidence of arson? Corporate intimidation. They're trying to force me to sell. Fire marshal looked uncomfortable. I need physical evidence, not theories. I'm ruling this electrical fire. James stood in the ashes of his barn knowing the truth. Meridian had escalated from legal pressure to property destruction. Tuesday morning, the conference call with Lockheed Martin. James explained the situation, the minerals, the pressure, the lawsuits, the fire. The Lockheed representative, Sarah Chen, listened carefully, then said, Mr. Mitchell, we're very interested in your mineral deposit. Scandium and yttrium are critical to our manufacturing. We'd like to propose a partnership. You retain ownership of the land. We handle extraction. Profit split is 70-30. You get 70%. That's generous. The minerals are worth it, and we provide legal support. We'll defend you against Meridian's lawsuits. We have resources they don't expect. Why would you do this? Why not just let Meridian pressure me until I'm desperate and buy cheap? Because we need a stable, ethical supply chain. Meridian has questionable practices in other countries. We prefer working with American landowners directly. Plus, defending you sends a message. Corporations can't just bully people off their land. James felt emotion rising. Someone was actually offering to help, not exploit. Help. I'm interested. What's next? We send a team to verify the geological surveys. If they confirm what Dr. Hassan reported, we move to contract. Could be done in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. James could survive 2 weeks. Let's do it. Tuesday afternoon. James received a call from Brennan. James, I heard about your barn. Unfortunate accident. It wasn't an accident. These old barns are fire hazards. You should be more careful. Anyway, I'm calling because we're prepared to make one final offer. $5 million. Take it or leave it. After today, the offer is permanently withdrawn. $5 million. Down from 6.5. They were punishing him for resisting. I'm not selling. Not to you. Not ever. You're making a mistake. A very expensive mistake. Maybe. But it's my mistake to make. James hung up. Felt strength building. He wasn't backing down. Wednesday through Friday, Lockheed's team came, surveyed the land, took samples, ran tests, confirmed Hassan's findings. The deposit was real, massive, worth potentially 80 million over 20 years of extraction. Friday evening, Sarah Chen called. "Mr. Mitchell, everything checks out. We're ready to move forward. Our lawyers will contact you Monday to begin contract negotiations. In the meantime, we're filing a countersuit against Meridian for harassment and tortious interference. We're also requesting an injunction against further intimidation. You can do that? We have very good lawyers." Meridian thought they were pushing around a lone farmer. They're about to discover they're fighting Lockheed Martin. Different game. James felt tears. "Thank you. You have no idea what this means. You stood up for yourself. That takes courage. We respect that." Saturday morning, 1 week after the black SUVs first appeared, James sat on his porch drinking coffee, watching the sunrise over his 600 acres. His father had protected this land for 22 years, kept the secret, avoided the fight, lived simply, died quietly. Now James was fighting openly, with powerful allies, with hope. The land was still his, the minerals were still there, and he'd made the choice his father left for him. Not to sell out, not to give in, to stand his ground. Monday would bring contracts, lawyers, negotiations, the long process of extracting millions from the earth, but also partnership, support, justice. James thought about the letter his father left. Handle it wisely. He'd tried. Made the best decisions he could with impossible pressure. His father buried Tuesday, land inherited Wednesday. Corporate pressure, Thursday through Saturday. Black SUVs, threats, fire, lawsuits, 1 week that changed everything. But James was still here, still owned the land, still had choices. He raised his coffee cup toward the northeast 40 acres, toward the minerals worth millions sleeping beneath the trees. "Thanks, Dad, for the land, for the truth, for the choice. I won't let you down." The sun rose higher, new day, new beginning, hard fight ahead. But James Mitchell was ready. The black SUVs had come Saturday morning. By the following Monday, James had fought back. The story was just beginning. The father's story. How Robert discovered the secret to understand what James inherited. You need to understand how Robert found it. 1997, October. Robert Mitchell was 56 years old, been farming 600 acres for 32 years. Life was routine, predictable, comfortable. That October, Robert noticed something odd. The northeast 40 acres, the wooded section he never farmed, had unusual vegetation patterns. Certain areas grew dense and green while others barely grew at all. Robert was curious. Took soil samples from different spots, sent them to Iowa State University Extension. Routine agricultural analysis. Results came back 2 weeks later. Unusual mineral concentrations. Specifically, scandium, yttrium, and neodymium. Rare earth elements. Robert didn't understand the significance. Called the extension agent. "These results normal?" The agent hesitated. "Mr. Mitchell, these concentrations are unusual. Very unusual. I'd recommend consulting with a geologist. This might be significant." That's how Robert met Dr. Karim Hassan, professor of geology, specialist in mineral deposits. Hassan came to the farm, surveyed the northeast 40, took more samples, ran extensive tests. 3 weeks later, Hassan sat Robert down with results. "Robert, you have a significant rare earth mineral deposit on your land. The concentrations I'm seeing suggest a formation that could contain millions of dollars worth of scandium and yttrium." Millions? Potentially 50 to 80 million in total extractable value. These minerals are critical for electronics, aerospace, defense applications. They're rare, valuable, and increasingly difficult to source. Robert sat stunned. How did this get here? Geological processes over millions of years. Ancient volcanic activity, mineral concentration in specific formations. It's rare, but it happens. You got lucky. What should I do? Hassan thought carefully. You have options: extract and sell, partner with mining company, or do nothing. But Robert, I need to warn you, if word gets out about this deposit, you'll face pressure. Mining corporations will offer to buy your land. They'll be persistent, aggressive sometimes. Should I tell anyone? That's your decision. But understand, once this becomes public knowledge, your quiet farming life is over. People will see you differently, treat you differently. Every interaction will be about the minerals. Robert thought about that, about his simple life, about farming peacefully, about avoiding complications. Can you keep this confidential? Professional obligation. I won't tell anyone unless you authorize it. Then I want this kept secret. I need time to think. Hassan agreed, provided Robert with all documentation, geological surveys, assay reports, value estimates, everything sealed in confidential file. Robert spent months thinking, considering options. Option 1, extract the minerals, make millions, retire wealthy. But that meant dealing with mining corporations or starting own operation, environmental impact on his land, attention and scrutiny, changing his entire life. Option 2, sell the land to corporation. Take quick money, move away. But that meant losing the farm he'd built over 30 years, leaving the community he loved, betraying his connection to the land. Option 3, do nothing, keep farming, ignore the minerals. That meant life continues as normal, no wealth, no change, no complications. But minerals still there if needed someday. Robert chose option 3, decided to do nothing, keep the secret, farm around it, live simply. His reasoning, I don't need millions, I need peace. I need my farm, I need my life. The minerals can stay in the ground. Maybe someday they'll matter, but not today. So Robert never told anyone. Not his wife before she died, not James, not neighbors, nobody. He farmed 600 acres, made decent living, saved money, lived modestly. The mineral deposit sat untouched beneath the Northeast 40, but Robert wasn't naive. He knew someday the secret might come out. Someday he'd die and someone else would own the land. That's why he documented everything, left it for James. With warning, with choice. Robert knew James would face pressure he never faced. Because Robert could keep the secret, James couldn't. The secret would come out when ownership transferred. Robert prepared James as best he could, through a letter, through documentation, through warning. Now, 22 years after the discovery, James was living the pressure Robert avoided. The corporations, who they were and what they wanted. Meridian Mining Corporation wasn't just interested in James's land. They were desperate for it. Meridian was a publicly traded company, $2 billion market cap, operations in 12 countries, revenue $800 million annually. But they had a problem. U.S. dependency on Chinese rare earth minerals was a national security issue. Department of Defense was pressuring American companies to develop domestic sources. Meridian had been searching for domestic rare earth deposits for 8 years. Found a few, all either too small, too expensive to extract, or in protected areas. Robert Mitchell's 600 acres represented Meridian's best prospect in North America. 70 million in extractable minerals, easy access, privately owned, no federal protection. They'd been trying to buy it since 2003. 16 years of offers, all rejected by Robert. Meridian CEO Thomas Brennan, Richard Brennan's brother, had made acquiring the Mitchell property his personal mission. Told investors it was key to their domestic expansion strategy. When Robert died, Meridian saw opportunity. New owner, inexperienced, vulnerable. They mobilized immediately. David Chen, Meridian's VP of Acquisitions, assembled the pressure campaign. Immediate contact within 24 hours, escalating offers to create urgency, legal threats to demonstrate power, physical intimidation to instill fear, property damage to break resolve, standard corporate playbook for acquiring resistant properties. Worked 87% of the time, according to their internal data. James was supposed to be case 88. Take the money, sell, move on. They didn't expect resistance. Didn't expect Lockheed Martin. Didn't expect James to have the courage to fight. Continental Resources was Meridian's main competitor. Smaller, more aggressive, less scrupulous. Continental wanted the Mitchell property to block Meridian. Even if they couldn't extract profitably, keeping it from Meridian was strategic victory. Continental's offers were designed to outbid Meridian slightly, force Meridian to overpay or withdraw. Either outcome benefited Continental. Pacific Materials was third player, private equity owned, purely financial interest. Buy low, extract, sell, exit, standard private equity playbook. All three corporations had one thing in common: view landowners as obstacles to overcome, not people to respect. James was just an obstacle, to be bought, pressured, or broken. Whatever worked. They made a mistake. James wasn't just an obstacle. He was Robert Mitchell's son, and Robert had prepared him. The week in detail, hour by hour, pressure. Tuesday, funeral day, morning, funeral at 10 a.m., small service. Pastor Thompson presiding. James gave eulogy, talked about his father's integrity, his quiet strength, his love of the land. Afternoon, burial at 2 p.m., county cemetery. Robert laid to rest next to his wife Elizabeth. James stood alone at graveside after everyone left, said private goodbye. Evening, James went through father's house, looking for something. Comfort, maybe. Found old photos. Robert as young man, with Elizabeth, with baby James, farming through the years, simple life documented in photographs. Wednesday, the letter, morning 9 a.m., meeting with Patterson, receipt of estate documents, discovery of the confidential letter, 10:30 a.m. James read letter 3 times in Patterson's office, sat stunned, couldn't process it. 11 a.m., drove to farm, examined northeast 40 acres, looked normal, unremarkable, no indication of millions beneath. Afternoon, retrieved safety deposit box, reviewed all documentation, geological surveys, assay reports, photos, notes, father's meticulous record-keeping. Evening, James tried to sleep, couldn't. Mind racing. What was he supposed to do? Millions in minerals under his land. Corporations watching. Father's warning ringing in his head. Thursday, first contact 6:42 a.m. First call, Meridian Mining. James shocked they called so fast, refused meeting. 7:18 a.m. Second call. Continental Resources, aggressive offer, $4.8 million. James refused. 8:33 a.m. Third call. Pacific Materials, $5 million offer. James hung up. Calls continued all day, 7 total, each more aggressive, each higher offer. Pattern was clear. They knew Robert died. They knew minerals were there. They were circling. James felt hunted, in his own home, on his own land. Corporations treating him like commodity to be acquired. Friday, in-person pressure. Morning, threatening letter slipped under door, $6 million offer. Deadline, Saturday noon, message clear, decide fast or face consequences. Afternoon, 2 men in suits arrived uninvited. Continental Resources, increased offer to $6.2 million. James ordered them off property. They left reluctantly, made thinly veiled threats about market conditions changing. Evening, James reviewed options, felt trapped. Selling felt like betrayal of father's memory. Keeping land felt like impossible fight against corporate power. Saturday, the SUVs, 6:04 a.m. Dogs barking woke James. 3 black SUVs at gate. 6 men, waiting, watching. 6:18 a.m. James called Sheriff Martinez, waited anxiously for help. 6:37 a.m. Sheriff arrived, talked to SUV men, came back with disappointing news. They were legal, on public property, nothing could be done. 7:15 a.m. James made breakfast, couldn't eat. Watched SUVs from kitchen window. They didn't move. Just presence, intimidation. 11:48 a.m. Richard Brennan arrived. The ultimatum. 6.5 million or war. 11 minutes to decide future. 12:03 p.m. James refused. Made decision to fight. Point of no return. Afternoon. SUVs remained. James felt constant surveillance. Every move watched. Psychological warfare. Evening, SUVs still there. James knew this was just beginning. Sunday, seeking guidance. Morning, church. Pastor Thompson's sermon about David and Goliath. Felt like message meant for James. Afternoon, email from Brennan. Legal threats, environmental complaints, title challenges, corporate warfare beginning. Evening, James called Dr. Hassan. Learned about potential partnership with Lockheed Martin. First hope in days. Monday, warfare. Begins, morning, lawsuits delivered, 3 separate filings. $25,000 in legal fees just to start. James committed to fighting. Afternoon, conference call arranged with Lockheed Martin. Tuesday 2 p.m., potential ally in impossible fight. Evening, barn fire, property destruction, escalation from legal to physical. Message sent, we'll destroy what we can't buy. Tuesday, the partnership. Morning, James surveyed barn damage, half destroyed, equipment ruined. Insurance would cover some, but wasn't about money, about intimidation. Afternoon, conference call with Lockheed Martin. Sarah Chen's offer. Partnership, not acquisition. 70-30 split. Legal support. Hope. Evening, James accepted partnership concept. Pending verification of geological surveys. Light at end of tunnel. Wednesday through Friday. Verification. Lockheed team on property. Running tests. Taking samples. Confirming Hassan's original findings. James watched nervously. Everything depended on verification. Friday evening, confirmation. Deposit verified, partnership moving forward. Countersuits filed against Meridian, tables turning. Saturday, 1 week later, morning. James sat on porch reflecting. 1 week since funeral, 1 week since inheriting problem, 1 week of corporate warfare. But he'd survived, made allies, fought back. Land was still his. Future was uncertain but hopeful. The legal battle. What Meridian filed and why Meridian's legal attack was three-pronged, expensive, sophisticated, designed to overwhelm. Lawsuit 1, title challenge. Meridian alleged Robert Mitchell's 1987 property purchase had defective title. Claimed original seller didn't have clear ownership. Therefore, Robert never properly owned it. Therefore, James didn't inherit valid title. This was completely fabricated. Title had been clear for 32 years. But proving that required hiring title attorneys, researching historical records, filing detailed responses, expensive and time-consuming. Meridian's goal wasn't to win, was to create doubt, scare potential partners, make James spend money defending. Lawsuit 2, environmental violations. Meridian filed county complaint alleging James was violating environmental regulations, specifically, improper creek maintenance causing erosion, illegal pesticide application near waterways, unauthorized timber harvesting in protected wetlands, all false, all requiring environmental assessments to disprove, all expensive. County was required to investigate. Meant inspectors on property, testing, documentation. Even when cleared, the process cost time and money. Lawsuit 3, trespassing and property damage. Meridian claimed James's creek maintenance work damaged their surveying equipment that was on county property adjacent to James's land. Complete fiction. They had no equipment there, but lawsuit was filed. James had to respond. More legal fees. The three lawsuits together created massive pressure. $25,000 minimum in legal fees just to respond, months of court proceedings, constant stress and uncertainty, deterrent to any partner's standard corporate strategy. Legal warfare to exhaust opponents' resources. Patterson, James's attorney, explained it clearly. They're not trying to win in court. They're trying to win through exhaustion. Make you spend money until you're desperate to settle. Then they buy your land cheap, drop the suits, and extract the minerals. They profit. You lose everything. But Patterson also said, Lockheed Martin changes everything. They have legal resources Meridian never expected. This fight just became fair. The Lockheed partnership. How it worked. Sarah Chen's offer wasn't charity, was strategic business for Lockheed. Lockheed Martin's aerospace division needed guaranteed domestic rare earth mineral supply. Current supply chain depended on Chinese exports. Geopolitically unstable, unreliable. Scandium specifically was critical for advanced aerospace alloys, lighter, stronger, essential for next-generation aircraft. Yttrium was critical for radar systems, missiles, defense applications. James's deposit could supply Lockheed's needs for 15 to 20 years. Estimated 70 to 80 million total value. Partnership structure, Chen proposed. James retains land ownership. Lockheed handles all extraction operations. Lockheed covers all costs, permits, equipment, labor, environmental compliance. Revenue split, 70% James, 30% Lockheed. Term, 20 years with renewal option. Legal protection. Lockheed defends James against corporate lawsuits. Why 70-30 split favoring James? Because Lockheed wasn't primarily profit-seeking on this deal. Was supply chain securing? $70 million in minerals over 20 years cost Lockheed about $3.5 million annually. Acceptable for guaranteed domestic supply. James would receive approximately $4.9 million in revenue over 20 years. Not all at once. Distributed as minerals extracted and sold. But reliable, steady, substantial. More importantly, James kept the land, kept farming. Land remained in his family. Just with valuable partnership extracting minerals from northeast 40 acres. Lockheed's legal support was equally valuable. They assigned 3 corporate attorneys to James's case, filed countersuits against Meridian. Harassment and intimidation, tortious interference with business relations, corporate bullying and unfair business practices, property damage, barn fire investigation. Meridian expected to fight lone farmer with limited resources. Instead, faced Lockheed Martin's legal department. Completely different fight. Chen explained it to James. Meridian thought they were hunting rabbit. Now they're fighting bear. They'll back off or get mauled. Either way, you're protected. The barn fire. What really happened? Monday night. 11:37 p.m. James's barn caught fire. Official story. Electrical malfunction. Old wiring. Accident. Real story. Arson. Evidence destroyed by fire, but pattern was clear. Fire started in 3 separate locations simultaneously. Accelerant detected, gasoline, but attributed to stored equipment. Timing. Exactly when corporate pressure was maximum. Motive. Obvious fire marshal ruled electrical fire because no direct proof of arson, no witnesses. Accelerant could be explained. Pressure from county to avoid controversy, but James knew. Everyone knew. Meridian sent message. We can hurt you physically, not just legally. Insurance covered $58,000 in damages, but equipment loss, temporary storage costs, and disruption cost James closer to $90,000 total. More importantly, psychological impact. Someone burned his property. Could have been sleeping in the house. Could have been deadly. Intimidation worked initially. James felt vulnerable. Scared. But then anger replaced fear. They burned his barn. Destroyed his property. Threatened his safety. That crystallized James's resolve. He wouldn't just keep the land anymore. He'd fight actively, aggressively, make them pay for what they'd done. When Lockheed's attorneys investigated the fire, they found security footage from neighbors' camera showing unfamiliar truck near James's barn around 11 p.m. Monday night. Truck matched description of vehicle registered to Meridian contractor, not proof in court. But enough for Lockheed to include arson allegations in their countersuit. Enough to make Meridian very nervous. Corporate harassment was one thing. Arson was criminal. FBI territory. Federal investigation. Prison time. Meridian's executives started distancing themselves fast. Rogue contractor, not authorized. Company policy prohibits such actions. But damage was done. Lockheed had leverage. James had evidence. Fight had turned. The community reaction, how neighbors responded. Small farming community, 1,500 residents. Everyone knew everyone. News traveled fast. When Robert died, community mourned. Robert was respected. Honest farmer, good neighbor, quiet man who helped others without seeking credit. When James inherited, community watched. Young man suddenly responsible for 600 acres. Could he handle it? When black SUVs appeared, community noticed. Strangers in town, corporate types, asking questions, making calls. Everyone knew something was happening. When barn burned, community reacted. Some neighbors supported James. Tom Henderson, age 68, neighboring farmer. James is Robert's son. Robert was good man. If corporations are pressuring James, we should help him. This is our community. We protect our own. Henderson organized informal support. 5 farmers offered to help rebuild barn. Donated materials, labor, time. Maria Santos, age 52, owned local diner. Those corporate people came through here, rude, demanding, acting like they owned the place. I don't like them. James is one of us. I'm on his side. Santos put up sign and diner. We support James Mitchell, keep our farms family-owned. But other neighbors were conflicted. Robert Chen, age 41, farming 800 acres. I feel for James, but fighting corporations is dangerous. Maybe he should take the money. Live well. Why martyr yourself? Susan Williams, age 38, county board member. This is bringing unwanted attention to our county. Corporate lawsuits, federal investigations. Maybe James should settle quietly, for everyone's sake. The division reflected broader question. When corporations pressure individuals, do communities support the individual or encourage compliance? Pastor Thompson addressed it in Sunday sermon after barn fire. We're watching David face Goliath in real time. Our neighbor James inherited blessing and burden. Minerals worth millions. Corporations demanding he sell. He chose to stand his ground, to keep land his father built, to resist intimidation. Some say he should sell, take money, move on. Life's easier that way. Maybe true. But what does that teach our children? That power always wins? That money trumps principle? That individuals can't resist corporations? Or do we support James, show him he's not alone, prove that community matters, that we protect our own, that David can beat Goliath if people support him? I know my answer. I pray you know yours. After that sermon, community shifted. More neighbors supported James, offered help, showed solidarity. When Lockheed surveyors came to verify minerals, neighbors gave them access across properties, cooperated, facilitated. When Meridian tried to pressure county officials to delay permits, community attended board meetings, spoke up, defended James. Small actions, but meaningful. James wasn't alone anymore. Community backed him. That mattered more than money, more than legal strategies. James had people in his corner that gave him strength to continue. The resolution, how it ended 3 months after the funeral, 3 months of legal warfare, 3 months of pressure and stress. July 2019, settlement conference. Meridian, Lockheed, James, attorneys, mediation. Meridian's position had collapsed. Title challenge dismissed. Robert's ownership was undeniably valid. Environmental complaints investigated and cleared. No violations found. Trespassing suit withdrawn. No evidence of their equipment damage. Arson investigation ongoing. Meridian contractor under federal scrutiny. Meridian faced potential criminal liability. Bad publicity. Shareholder anger. Failed acquisition attempt. They needed to exit gracefully. Save face. Cut losses. Lockheed's position was strong. Partnership contract signed with James. Extraction permits filed and approved. Operations beginning in 6 months. Legal countersuits proceeding. Lockheed could destroy Meridian in court, but preferred settlement. Less expensive, less time-consuming. James's position was clear. Keep land, partner with Lockheed, make Meridian pay for barn and harassment. Mediation lasted 6 hours. Finally reached settlement. Meridian agreed to drop all lawsuits, pay James $120,000 for barn fire damages and harassment, issue public statement saying they respect James's decision to partner with Lockheed, cease all contact with James or his property. James agreed to drop countersuits, not pursue federal arson charges against Meridian contractor. Contractor was fired, left state. Allow Meridian to save face with public statement. Lockheed agreed to proceed with partnership as planned. Allow Meridian graceful exit from conflict. Everyone signed. Conflict ended. James walked out owning his 600 acres, partnered with Lockheed, $120,000 in compensation. Lawsuits dismissed. Meridian walked out having failed to acquire property. Lost money on legal fees, damaged reputation, but avoided criminal charges. Lockheed walked out with secured rare earth mineral supply. 15-year partnership. Positive PR for supporting small farmer against corporate bully. The aftermath. What came next, August 2019 through December 2023, 4.5 years, Lockheed began extraction operations. Small mining facility on northeast 40 acres. Minimal environmental impact. Sophisticated equipment. Professional operation. James's revenue, year 1, partial, $820,000, year 2, $1.4 million, year 3, $1.6 million, year 4, $1.3 million, market fluctuations. Total through 2023, 5.12 million. James used money carefully. Rebuilt barn properly, 90,000. New equipment, 240,000. Land improvements, 80,000. Savings and investments, 4.7 million. James continued farming 560 acres, all except Northeast 40. Made money from crops plus mineral revenue. Financially secure for life. Community benefited. Lockheed hired 12 local workers for mining operation. Payroll, 800,000 annually into local economy. Property taxes from mining operation funded school improvements. James donated 300,000 to community projects. Meridian faced consequences. CEO Thomas Brennan forced to resign. Stock price dropped 12% when failed acquisition became public. Company restructured, scaled back aggressive expansion plans. Lockheed succeeded. Secured domestic rare earth supply. Positive publicity for ethical business practices. Profitable partnership with James. Continuing James's personal life. Remained on family farm. Married September 2020. Sarah, local teacher. First child born May 2022. Robert, named for grandfather. Living Robert's dream. Farming the land, raising family, building legacy. James reflected in interview December 2023. 4 years ago, I buried my father. Tuesday, inherited 600 acres. Wednesday. By Saturday, black SUVs lined my gate. Corporations threatened me, tried to force me to sell, burned my barn, filed lawsuits. I could have sold, taken 6 million, walked away. Life would have been easier. But my father left me a choice. Documented everything so I could decide. He chose to keep the secret for 22 years. Live simply. Avoid the fight. I chose differently. To fight openly. To partner with people I trusted. To keep the land. Best decision I ever made. Not because of money, though mineral revenue is nice. Because of principle. My father built this farm over 40 years. I wasn't going to let corporations bully me off it in 1 week. The black SUVs came Saturday. Thought they'd scare me into selling. Instead, they made me determined to fight. Showed me what I was fighting against. Corporate intimidation, bullying, disrespect. My father prepared me, left me information, warned me, trusted me to make right choice. I hope I did. I still have the land, still farming, still raising my family here. My son Robert, named for my father, will grow up on this farm. Maybe someday he'll inherit it, make his own choices. The minerals will run out eventually, 20 years from now maybe. Then it's just 600 acres of farmland again. But it'll still be ours, still in the family, still the legacy my father built and I protected. That's worth more than any money Meridian offered. That's what I fought for. That's what I won. The lesson. What James's story teaches James Mitchell's experience wasn't unique. Happens regularly. Corporations pressure individuals, use legal warfare, intimidation, money. Usually, individuals sell, take the money, walk away. James didn't. Why? Several factors. 1. Information. His father documented everything. James knew what he had, knew what it was worth, knew the pressure would come. Preparation mattered. 2. Principle. James valued land over money, family legacy over quick profit. That principle gave him strength to resist. 3. Alternatives. Finding Lockheed partnership gave James option beyond sell or fight binary. Third path existed because he looked for it. 4. Support. Community backed him. Neighbors helped. Pastor encouraged. Not alone in fight. 5. Courage. Ultimately, James chose to fight despite fear, despite pressure, despite easier option existing. The lesson isn't never sell. Sometimes selling makes sense. Sometimes walking away is smart. The lesson is make conscious choice. Don't let pressure force decision. Don't let intimidation dictate outcome. Understand options. Choose deliberately. James could have sold Tuesday after funeral. Could have sold Saturday after SUVs appeared. Could have sold Monday after barn burned. Each time, he chose to wait. Gather information. Consider alternatives. Make thoughtful decision. That patience and deliberation led to better outcome than panic sale would have. For others facing similar pressure, document everything. Know your rights. Understand your value. Consider all options. Seek expert advice. Don't decide under duress. Find allies if possible. Trust your instincts. Remember, you have power they need, your property. Corporations have money, lawyers, time, but they need your agreement. That's leverage. Use it. James used his leverage well, got better outcome than anyone expected, protected what mattered while profiting appropriately. The black SUVs came Saturday. Thought they were beginning of James's surrender. Actually were beginning of his victory. Sometimes standing your ground works. James proved it.